there. Welcome to the latest episode of the Sexy Thyroid Solution. I'm your host, Angela Brown. So today I want to talk about food intake affecting your thyroid. But first, if you could do me a really big favor, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit that little subscribe button, and then you're going to hit the little bell so that you get notification every single Thursday when I release a new video. And if you're watching this on Facebook or Instagram, like this, maybe tag someone who you think would benefit from this information. So I want to talk about food intake, particularly because January is getting close and New Year's resolutions start. This is something that I'm actually going to have an entire module devoted to in my group program that is going to be starting in January. It's such a really, really important topic when it comes to thyroid and metabolism that, I could create several modules on it. I'm condensing it into one, but there's a lot of things that can affect the thyroid when you start talking about food intake. One of the particular things that I wanted to bring up is I see a lot of people that end up restricting calories. They cut calories. And I've talked about this ad nauseum. I've done a lot of social media posts on this because it's like the thing that you're told to do. Either your doctor tells you or you go to a nutrition coach and they tell you, okay, you got to cut your calories and you need to exercise more, which is the worst thing that you could do for your metabolism. It doesn't work long term. I've never seen it work. I've never seen it happen. I personally can vouch for this. I did it and it didn't work. And I was in my mid-late 20s when I did it, and you would think your metabolism is doing pretty well then, and it did not work. One of the big reasons is your body thinks that you're starving itself. When you go into such a drastic restriction, your body actually thinks it's starving itself, and so it's going to hold on to all the calories. It's going to hold on to everything that you're taking in. So you end up not burning it off. So you end up actually having too much calories in, and that's why people start gaining weight. It's not because, it's just not working for you, particularly you individually, but it's working for, Sally down the street. That doesn't matter at all. Okay. Everyone eventually gets to the point where the metabolism can only do so much. When you calorically restrict it, it's not going to work. Okay. At some point, it's going to catch up with you. I never, ever, ever recommend it. In fact, I don't even recommend to count calories. I hate counting calories. Not all calories are equal. They're not all the same. And you burn them off totally different than somebody else. So counting calories to me is one of the dumbest things that you could do when you're trying to actually lose weight. Do not count calories. It doesn't work. You actually need to eat for your health. You need to eat for your metabolism. You need to eat for your thyroid. That's the first take home with that. Secondly, if you want to calculate things, I have people look at macros. So you look at carbs, protein, and fat. The ratio between the three things is actually what you need to look at, not your total calories. Now, granted, if you're taking in 1,500 calories a day and you're a teeny tiny little person, that might actually make you keep weight on or put weight on because your body's been used to taking in such a low amount of calories. So if you've been taking in a severely low amount of calories and then you all of a sudden go to like 1,500, that's going to be a shock to your system. So you have to almost wean yourself up to that when you do start increasing your caloric intake. I also say that if you do start looking at your caloric intake and you realize that you're taking in 2,800 calories, but you really should not have that much, to don't drastically cut it, because again, it's a shock to your body. So the only time that I ever have someone calorically or count their calories is if we're trying to find out where the happy medium is for how much food they should be taking in and how much macros, carb, protein, fat they should be taking in. We'll initially go, okay, let's kind of start looking at your calories to see where you're at. That's it. Otherwise, you do not count calories until once we have a ballpark, okay, your macros should be 40% protein, your macros should be 40% carbohydrates, and then the rest is going to be fat. So I'm just throwing something out there, but let's say that that's what we choose for you. Then we kind of do need to look at what your caloric intake is in the beginning. But after that, that's it. You do not start counting calories. It just doesn't work. And the other thing is what are you taking in? If you're taking in a lot of your calories from crap food, that's not going to work for your thyroid. You have to have good, healthy food for your thyroid and for your metabolism. So this is the other reason why I hate when people count calories, because I could be taking in 1,200 calories. You could be taking in 1,200 calories over here, but all your calories are coming from Butterfinger bars, and all my calories are coming from actually healthy food. who's going to be the healthier one? Who's going to have a better metabolism? It's going to be me. So that's why I talk to my clients all the time about this, that calories are not the same. So you cannot count calories, okay? You have to look at what you're taking in. So what do I mean by what healthy foods? Cutting out things like processed foods. Gluten is a really big one for your thyroid. People do not do well with gluten and with a thyroid issue. And if your metabolism's slow, you should cut gluten out. Anything that has like trans fats, those are typically not good. Some people have to cut out dairy. I'm one of those where I'm really sensitive to dairy because I do have thyroid issues. So cutting out dairy is going to be a really big one. The other thing too is you're looking at your macros. So you're looking at your carb, protein, fat. If most of your calories are coming from fat, it's going to slow you down. It's going to slow your thyroid down. Your thyroid actually needs a good amount of protein. And it also needs a good amount of carbohydrates, good carbohydrates. We're talking starchy carbohydrates, even fruits, but not these crappy carbs, okay? But if you're taking in, a decent amount of carbohydrates, that helps with thyroid hormone conversion, and you need thyroid hormone conversion. That's going to work for your metabolism. So if you're doing a really, really low carb diet, so you're not getting the carbs in to help with conversion, and you're doing if you're doing low carb, you're usually doing high fat because you got to get something in. The high fat slows it down. So I generally do not recommend something like a ketogenic diet. I'm not a huge fan of it if you're trying to correct the metabolism initially. Now, eventually I do have some clients where they can go on a ketogenic diet eventually and they feel great on it. But when you're initially trying to correct what the metabolism has done, what the thyroid has done, especially if you've been a yo-yo dieter, the ketogenic diet's not a smart move, especially when you start looking at minerals and stuff like that, which this is something I go over with my one-on-one clients. When we look at hair tissue testing, we can look at what food intake is going to be better for you. If you do need more carbs, if you do need more fat or less, you can see that on a hair tissue test. So if you have questions with this, reach out, let me know. If you have questions too about my group program, the cart's going to be open, not going to be open for long, for about a week. And then we're going to get going probably the third week of January with the program. Everything's going to be recorded. So if you don't make the calls, it's totally fine. You're going to get instant access to the recording. It's not going to be a huge program. I do need to limit space a little bit because I kind of want it to be a little bit more quaint so I can get more personal with you ladies. So if you want to get in on the list so that you can get first dibs to sign up in January, let me know about that too. So hope you guys have an amazing day, and we'll chat soon in the next video. Bye.